Mukka you.
Alright, airdrop cuzzies, we're interrupting this video and it's a big cheer to SP Tools New Zealand for supplying this mad ass microphone. Mukka Year Plus has brought to you Hot Rod Todd. Now he's live in the website under the new merchandise promotion. Grab your merch and grab also your chance to win Hot Rod Todd. What would you do with him? Would you race him? Bash him up the wall, chuck your loved one in it because you can't drive? I don't know. Let us know in the comments. All of the boring stuff's on the website, T's and C's and whatever else you need to know. So click on the link, get on the website, grab your merch and a chance to win Hot Rod Todd.
Bro, that's why I was just like idling it so high, because like it's just between like idle, but the idle actual level's like way too low anyway, because it's idling at like only like 800 or 900.
Yeah.
But between the idle and like what you can actually like drive it on idle with the accelerator, it's just dead.
Yeah, that's just how those carbs are.
And then I was wondering, like, because I'd go into the corner and like frickin', and you'd brake, and then when you'd go to get back on the gas, it was just like dead.
Like,
it was just nothing.
And
and then like even if you're just like winding as much as you can, and then all of a sudden it just like what, and it starts taking off.
Yeah.
Like, I think the carburetor's just doing it like
Almost
every bloody day of the week.
Braswell stopped making carbs for like a 6-year window.
Yeah.
And Holly got back in the game with that. And Brian thought, oh sweet, we'll get on those, but we couldn't get them right after 4 years, so we told him to throw them away, and we got Braswells made again.
Yeah.
Via the guy who used to make them for Braswell, and now they've started producing them again. Don't even run those anymore.
Yeah. What are we into it, are we? Yeah. You heard us videoing anyway, I was having a genuine chat. Here we are in a vlog, and we're bringing to you, I suppose, some information about the Superstock class as far as setting the car up. We've got Rees here, Mr. 1NZ back to back. We're thankful he's come all the way down from half up the North Island to us. So it's taken a good couple of hours. He's going to spend an hour or so with us. But yeah, we'll cover some stuff off today, and we're going to hopefully go through the entire sort of like basic way of other people gaining knowledge to be able to set up their race car. Of course with Asher and the stock car cast previously. We've got Cody here as well. Cody Kip.
Hi.
He's come for a yarn. He's going to learn. He's going to take over everything that Asher knows, hopefully. Kick into it, eh, bro?
Pretty much, yeah. You probably just get it up in the air and have a measure up, make sure it's all sitting square. Obviously, different front axle. Just get all that true first. That's the main thing.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get this hoist up under it and get onto it. Yeah.
Oh, the drop arm's bent and the tie rod arm between the two's bent, so that's why it's crossed over. I thought you braced it. I thought you'd know to check that.
We were busy pulling signer up.
That'll be hard on that's bending it.
Yeah.
Your bolt, so there's something misaligned through here.
So this is not meant to be up like that?
Nah, that's meant to be flat.
Meant to be flat?
Yeah.
Then would you put the bolt through the other side then?
Yeah.
Straight up
underneath keep the rod end on top, but put the bolt up the other way.
The steering was just way heavier than being used to the other cars.
That's why it'd be heavy though, is that pump. That passenger pump.
No good?
No, they're poos. Get that KRC pump.
Yeah.
And they just don't do what, because we put heaps of angle in these kingpins, they just can't handle it, just can't pack it. So we run the sweet pumps, like your old car would have run it. Yeah. And they just got the little red adapter mount and just like night and day.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't remember it being that ruthless, like literally I was like wrenching it around just off say the berm where it was rough tracked, you know?
Yeah, main thing is straighten that other arm, sort that drop arm out, get that down level.
What we're going to do is measure the back diff, the axles, and just check whether it's square within the chassis. So Ash is just going to show us on just the principal view. One, how you do it, and two, maybe on this car where you do it from, just to give an idea.
It's pretty much, we just want to square the back axle to the back bumper. Most people like to square off the firewall here, but on our cars and on this car especially, there's a bit of an offset in the firewall. So easiest point's just off the back bumper. And we'll just give it a quick measure from the plate to the centre of the axle, and that one's about 480. Pretty close to where we would have built the car. We just do the other side. Yeah, it's not too far out, it's 1 or 2 mil. You're not going to really notice that. A lot of guys like to run them with diff steer, but with the 4-link and the way we've got it set up at the moment, it creates enough diff steer that if you have too much diff steer prior to using it, prior to getting on the 4-link, it makes the car a bit wild and makes it a bit radical. So
within this chassis then, are we saying that like back bumper to front bumper is square? So if we square our front beam that way, and then our axle, obviously of the diff, we're squaring that off the back there, then
that's,
that's all kosher. Yeah, bro, yeah. We got next, bro. What idea was this? Is this your idea, bro? This is my idea. What's a higher spring rate to a lower spring rate, and the reason of why it's put where?
In the front of these things, we need them to be nice and stiff, just to keep the car stable. You get a lot of cars that wallow, they've got a soft front end, So we keep a nice stiff front end and a nice heavy front corner on the right side, just to keep them up in the air. Like the back is the big point of difference. You've got to have an imbalance, especially on these offset cars. If you want to be competitive on a slick track, we always run a heavier left rear and a soft as right rear, and people don't like that. It just creates a nice car for a slick track, which we always end up having. So
yeah, I did notice on this one when I checked the freaking arm and the toe out, and I knew all that was bent anyway. There was preload on that one, like there was quite a bit of preload, on that one. The rest of them you could pretty over on the right rear, it was like the tiniest of like 1 or 2 turns, but like once I took it out of it, because I wanted to take it out of it because I was lowering the car for bumper height, but on this one here, it didn't really matter whether I was adjusting 4 or 5 turns, which is, I don't know, roughly by memory, is it like 3 mil sort of in height a turn or something? Cody's just hanging out,
Are you writing all this down or what?
No, I'm taking note of it all though.
You taking note of it all?
I'm taking note of it.
Sweet, bro. Cody's doing tutorial freaking too. Let's just hit some basics of what we'd do to freaking set it up to get freaking Hot Rod Todd 3 out of 3 checkers this weekend.
Well, if you can drive it all. 600 rule with inches on it. We'll take the inches on it.
No, it starts 85 and 3/4. What's the 1NZ tyre pressures?
We'll run 22, 12, 22, 20, depending on the track, and then 18 on the left front.
Shit. So a little bit of difference there with the way that I done it. Obviously I had my left front at 12, 20, so there's a good, what's that, 8, and then almost in the other one we had 6 psi difference in the right front. The crazy thing is that when we chuck it on the scales, and when you do go in variance between your tyre pressures, it changes so much within like the cross weight, the rear weight, where everything of the car is actually sitting, let alone the handling and I suppose the side bite. I just got this stagger bar out, banged it on. Right rear we had
85 3/4.
Yep, and left rear was
80.
80, so 5 3/4 stagger. And what do you reckon we're aiming between?
5 and 6 generally. On a real bad, I guess, slick track at Palmy, you might bring it back to 3, but...
Is there a way of getting 8 inches of stagger between the tyres, or is there between finding
so
your lucky...
You can shrink a tyre or grow a tyre, so you can shrink the left rears down, so we've got some left rears that are about 78 inches, and you can run an 88 inch right rear,
And so you can actually shrink or grow the tyres?
Yeah.
How?
You shrink that, it's probably not safe, but you shrink that one in front of a heater, just keep rotating it while it's flat, not on a rim, just let it pulls itself together.
Oh, true.
And those you just pump up and put them in the sun for a day, pump them up to 40 and just let them grow.
Right, true. So, so the heater is literally just after work, crack a tui, and then just freaking wind the top, rotate the tyre, so it takes you next week, and you're probably sitting there just rotating a few tyres on the fucking heater. Tyre growing. Come on, bro. Tyre growing. I'll get these scales turned on. We'll see where it sits from Todd having a practice, I suppose.
Yeah.
I haven't actually used this since having a Superstock. We didn't use it in the sprint car. And then the 6-rotor got scaled at William Humphrey's HSP. So, but I think you can actually put this to your phone or something.
Yep.
I think you can like get it apped to your phone, and you can everything that you save or something.
Yep.
I think or
you
something
you can save it all. You can
like Bluetooth over to your phone, so you can like carry your.
You can do it all just at the track or wherever, you know. You can do it on the road. So there's plenty of different options here. Obviously, drag and rally, just general weight, the total weight, where all your wheel weights are is over there. But I normally just go for the oval, just knock it into 0.
Yeah, make sure that before you start and apply, obviously your car down, you've already got them turned on, zeroed, so that everything's at 0. Cody's got one job during this. Here he goes! During this video. So far, he's stoked. What is she? Well, he actually, eh?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it? What's going on?
We don't know if it's a he.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's changed overnight. It's actually sitting not too bad crossweight wise. I sort of aim 47, mid 47s. A
little bit of the difference here is I got a photo on my phone, but it's always different from when you're like sort of racing it, eh? Oh, I wouldn't even know where we are. There we are. Won't be able to freaking find it.
I was going to say the one who organised the show.
Oh, there you go.
Find it.
Remember, I always like a tighter car. I always crossweight quite high. I aim for probably getting more near like 50, 51 is almost where I end up by the end of the night.
How's it gained weight? It's gained weight today. It's gained 28 kilos. Did you not wash it properly, Cody?
No.
It'll be those little friggin' those little wing panel funny things that Dan put on during the week, those 2 little bits of aluminium.
Or he washed it too good, it's full of water somewhere.
He actually did a pretty good bloody job of washing it, Cody, eh?
Man,
he did the full wash, the full water blast, and he came in the next day for 6 hours and just wiped it and looked at it. Hey.
So it looks like it's sagged in the bum and stayed up in the front with the stiffer springs, obviously, so.
We're sitting at 425 bumper height, but I've accounted for, I think, 60 mil of the scale, so I suppose everyone who's thinking you need to be between 330 and 380 mil when your car's obviously on the ground, but I've increased my tape measure by 60 mil to take into account that we're up on the scale. So, and then on the left, we're 430.
Earlier you were talking about you took some turns out of there to get the crossweight right, where you wanted it. What's happened is it sagged over because it didn't have any preload, so the spring sort of unwound itself without taking the nut undone, and it's just fallen onto that right rear. That's all it does. We take quite a bit of time in scaling the day before, and then it sits overnight on the springs, but they need to readjust having weight on them.
We've got a 415, so the whole car on the right side, and it actually looks that visually way as well, eh? Like it's actually lower and it's leaning this way, but of course, we're turning left. So you don't want to frickin' lean in this way. You want to lean in frickin' that way, but obviously like that as well. But yeah, basically we've gone over some tire pressures, haven't we? So we know sort of what to do there, that they have to be done before you scale the car. Getting the stagger of every, the circumference of every single wheel and riding it on, I don't know, what's the habit, is it inside or something?
Yep, inside the rim,
of the rims, and then you come to this stage. I'll get my original freaking green 471P.
I can imagine.
471 par me, bro. Smash the P. I'll go and get that in my coilover spinner. 471P. I can't remember who made this from a long time ago, but they were like selling them online or something, I think, eh? But if you remember, 471P, my spinner, chuck us a freaking comment and let us know. Maybe you're still making them for everyone else, or maybe you just get them with your suspension now or something. I'm not honestly too sure, but these ones are freaking robust and mean as to handle rather than your real thin ones that came with the 6-rotor was like a BC Gold one, and they're like real thin. And I think because you like really actually are winding like quite a well, on this you were winding like so much pressure, it's like a thin one just cuts you up with these little office hands.
We really just need to get some height into this side, but out of that one mainly, that's so high. Bro.
Smile, bro. The old days, we only argued just a little bit between me, Dan and Asher, and I think the only valid argument to listen to, at a later date is maybe Asher's, but...
So we'll just crank some out of here. 1, 2, 3. I like to do things in clumps of 3, where you get a fair adjustment on it,
Yeah.
1, you might not see it in the scale, but 3 you definitely do, so you sort of know where to go from there. A lot of people put the grub screws in, but I think they've probably noticed when they come to my workshop and I do a setup, they get thrown in the scrap. because people do them up real tight and they just dent the thread. You can't actually work the bolt, the nut then.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. That WD-40, bro. Like that. So over on the right side, easy way. So it's like put 3 in, take 3 out. That corner was high.
Also giving a hard one to do.
He's strong, bro. He's a diesel mechanic.
Yep.
So do you always sort of just like rock the corners to just basically get some memory back in it from when it's unloaded its springs?
Yeah, it's just free sprung obviously, so you just give it a bounce.
Yeah.
Sort of sets everything back into shape again.
So roughly what's our cross weight? Is 48.
Yeah.
48 at cross weight, and then we'll go back over. And now we're at 440, which is our maximum on the right front. And we're at 410 on the left. 440.
So this car here is a sister car to what you used to run. You had the short forelink, like a standard AFCO, 13 and 15 inch forelink. We've since gone to a 600 centre. On the last few cars we've gone to an 800 centre forelink, which slows down the reaction. We gained so much rear weight in them and so much drive, we had to slow down everything. The shocks weren't doing enough. Playing with holes last year was quite big for us at New Zealand. Like, I struggled early on in the piece. I couldn't qualify. I struggled to qualify and he just scraped in. We pulled the car apart in the 2 hours and went right through it. Changed a whole lot of arms and obviously come out a whole lot better off. A lot of people think keep going up with your arms, creates more drive.
Yep.
It does going forward for so long, but then your axle or your diff goes to full droop too quickly. Therefore your wheels come off the ground for a split second, you lose drive.
Yep.
You're not actually driving anymore, you know.
What's the name you're going to call this one here? Is it like a Z-Link, or are you calling it a Panhard, or
Jacob's ladder.
a Jacob's ladder?
Yep. Yeah, and it's a very conventional one that we do.
Because that's been in the car. Is that still in the car today?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So your old cars, which was probably the first generation with those. You know,
Yep.
we did a lot of development on them as well. There's a ratio. There's a picture how it's meant to be. We've got it as close as we can. Obviously, we've got to be quite robust. These things are 1,500 kilos, and they slap into a concrete wall at 100 k's. The old midget car setup or sprint car setup doesn't work. Like, a lot of people do try them, but they just fail, and then they cost a lot of money. So there's 2 adjustments on the bird cage itself. For a newbie to the sport, we'll always start them up, you know, let them learn to drive the car because they're quite aggressive when you drop them down.
And so have these changed since I've been in the sport from a compound, have they?
Yeah.
Just the right rears only, or?
Yeah, so the rears in general. There was a whole lot of grief a few years ago, Speedway New Zealand and Cardwell's and Hoosier.
Oh yeah, I remember, some of that.
Yeah, so that got corrected by Hoosier, probably a longer lasting tyre. It's just a lot different to drive on. Like, it took us by surprise, you know, a lot of guys were going off backwards in the first few meetings, just getting used to it.
Yeah. In Rees race cars, have you guys tried, or have you run that 5th call?
We haven't personally, we've done them for Murray Long and Jason Long.
Yeah.
They didn't last long, I don't think. They didn't like them. My understanding of the 5th call, it was when people started getting big horsepower, they were blowing gearboxes, you know, ZFs and all that. So it was a way to get drive out of the car, because instead of being solid mounted, it was an inertia, you know, the lift arm would move, take some of the drive out of the car.
Just a good general base, and if there's any questions, I suppose, on exactly what you want to know within setup and why, or, you know, like why something actually works, hit us with it. We're always in contact with Asher. We're even going to see him at the track now. People like myself, Asher, that are in the sport are more than happy to help, like you helped me in freaking all the earlier days, bro. And
yeah, well, that's it. Like, you know, that small little community, and we all want everyone to go as good as each other, you know, like.
You want your competition, eh?
Oh, you need someone to battle.
Yeah, hard out. In a positive way, what do you think of the BMW being a new motor to the class? Have we had many new motors in the class in the last decade or freaking 2 decades? It's kind of been like the Toyotas, the Nissans, the Ford V8s, moving to, you know. And
yeah, so all the pushrod ones sort of phased out and the Japs come in, you know, the Toyotas, the Nissans.
Yeah.
Then the real biggest in the last modern era would be the new Nissans. We've got the VKs. Yeah. They're probably in the last 10 years. Yeah. And then, yeah, I suppose the BMW's a mint idea. Like, we've got 2 of them getting built now. It's a 4 litre from factory. It was actually built to run in Le Mans 24 hours, you know, it's all dry sump factory. They put them into M3 sports cars, and they're hard to come by. Yeah. But there's a lot of work you don't have to do to them. They've got machine ported heads from CNC mills. It's bang on 4 litres for us, so like
it's already a cost saving, you know, from the Nissans. You know, they're a 5.6 litre. We've got to bring them back to a 4 litre.
Yeah, custom full crank and friggin' I don't know what
so
your
like
beam is, but
I run the Beamer and it was mint. You know, I had to go in it for Gav before teams just to make sure everything was right. He was struggling with the car a little bit.
yeah, we've definitely touched on more than enough really. We've picked up a few things that Hot Rod Todd could do with, whether it be a bent arm and a bit of maintenance here or there. We'll check that toe in and out as well before the race in Wanganui. Obviously I'm just going to end up putting up from a power steering as far as exactly how that feels. I'm not going to move to the, what did you say that was? The sweet pump before the weekend. But yeah, other than that I think it's pretty freaking good to go, eh?